This is a Sprunki, and this is a horror form Sprunki. Today, I'm gonna be building the popular music game Incredibox Sprunki with all its cool characters that produce unique sound effects. I'll also be playing the game at the same time to make a song. Then, we'll also build the horror versions with a horror song. And let the challenge begin. First, we're gonna build the famous sky background of Sprunki, starting by building the foundational base plates and connecting them together. Then, I flipped it over and started adding the blue sky and cloud designs in a 2D style. Then, I built the little green hills at the back of the Sprunki game using the exact colors as the game, because I want to make this as accurate as possible. And the 2D background looks perfect. We're ready to build the Sprunki in front of it now. Let's see. I'm going to drag in the orange character, Oren, first. And okay, I like the drum beat. A good start. And now it's time to build Oren. We're going to start off by building the orange base. Then I started building the base of his head, which has his cool headphones that he's always bopping to. I finished the base of his face and his headphones, and then I built his two little ear antennae. I added the finishing details and his eyes and mouth to finish Oren. And he looks really cool. I like his face. He's just vibing to the music. He's one of my favorite Sprunki characters because of how chill he is. Okay, and now let's add an effect. I'm gonna add gray. And whoa! I love the synth sound he adds. This is a good start. We got a cool little tune too. I'm bopping. Now, let's build Gray. Starting off with his gray foundation of his triangular 2D body, I added his blank expression and built his normal circular head. He's one of the most popular Sprunkis, which is interesting. I added his two big ears to the top, added his eyes, and now Gray is finished. His moody expression looks really accurate to the game. It kind of looks like he's dead inside. He can make such a low synth sound. Okay, and now I want to add a melody. So let's add the yellow Sprunki Simon to our song. And whoa! He's really spicing it up with the singing. I'm grooving to the melody. We're making a hit, boys. Okay, let's build Simon. I added his triangular base. I started adding his face and then stuck on his two horns, which stick out to the side of his head. Then I built the two antennae that stick out of the top of Simon's head, which looks pretty cool. And then I finished the front of his face with his eyes and his little smiley face. Simon looks like he's just vibing to his own melody. I like his design because he has both the horns and the antennae, and he's one of the most famous Sprunki. Next, we're gonna add Wenda, the white cat character, to the song. Let's see how the melody changes, and ooh, she adds a voice. You can hear her hey sound. I like it a lot. The song's pretty fire already. Wow. Wenda is super popular these days, so we're building her as accurately as we can. After building the base, I added her two cat-like fur extensions to the side of her face, built out Wenda's face, and then added her two long pointy cat ears to the top of her head. Then I added her eyes and smiled to complete the build. And she looks great. I love that you can move her ears and you can really see Wenda's cat-like features. Next, I want to add another voice. So we're adding Pinki, the pink Sprunki. And whoa, her voice is so cool. She sounds like a spooky choir. She's making the song sound so cool, so we're almost done with the song. Pinki has a very cute design, so we're using bright pink Legos to build her. I built out her circular face with her eyes and mouth, and then built her unique design of her little ribbon and her two tall bunny ears. And she looks super cute. She really pops out when standing in front of the Sprunki Lego background. I especially like the little red bow at the top of her head. Okay, for our Sprunki song, I want to add a drum sound. So let's add Raddy, the red Sprunki. Oh wow, I like the drum sound. It gives some atmosphere to the song. To build Raddy, I used a bunch of red Legos to layer the Sprunki foundation, and then also built his face as well. So I added the three small horns to his head and two big horns at the edges. And to finish this build, I added his eyes and mouth. And when complete, Raddy looks pissed off. He is just not having it at the Sprunki party. His angry face really matches the loud drum sound he makes, so I guess it makes sense. And for our final addition to the Sprunki song, we're gonna add Jevin, the blue vocal character. Wow, his vocals are so deep. You can hear him echo the melody with his deep voice. And now, our first Sprunki song is done. This is such a fire song. The Sprunkis really popped off. Jevin has a light blue body, but he's wearing a dark blue hoodie, so I got both colors to build him. I added the alternating colors and built out his face, added the hood of the hoodie around his face, and then finished the build with his eyes. And wow, Jevin looks so emo. He looks like he's not having fun at all, which matches his super deep voice. He kind of looks like the male version of Sadness from Inside Out. But before I start the horror Sprunki song, we gotta build the other famous Sprunki characters too. I also built Vineria, the green Sprunki that has a cool drum jazz beat. feet. She's interesting because she has a lot of vines on her head. I added the little flowers, her smile, and the vines all around her head, as well as her one horn pointing up. When complete, Vineria looks really cool. I like how unique she looks with her flowers and vines. We're also building Mr. Sun, one of the melodies, who looks like a typical sun with a smiley face. So I built out his foundations and then added his sun rays by converting some Lego roof tile slabs into the rays. I also added his little eyes and his huge smile, and he looks really cool. I love the textures he has from the front to the back, and he really fits in with the Sprunki nature background. Next is Brud, the brown Sprunki, known for his noisy banging sounds that probably comes from the bucket on his head. I built out his Sprunki body and head, which are pretty typical, and I added his cross-eyed googly eyes. And then I committed a Lego sin by gluing the bucket on his head. But who cares? It looks good. And that's what matters. See, his bucket doesn't fall off. And he looks super accurate to Brud inside Incredibox Sprunki, so I'm happy. And now it's finally time to build Black, the final Sprunki character that takes us to the horror Sprunki game mode. Black has a fancy look with his top hat and tie, so I added the tie when building his body, and then built his top hat, added his eyes, and put the hat on top. And he looks really cool, very posh with his fancy attire. And now we have our first set of normal Sprunki. They look really cool, but now it's time to enter the horror mode. So let's put Black in the music box, and whoa, we're in the horror mode. He makes such a creepy sound, and the eyes in the background are giving me the heebie-jeebies. Let's put in horror Oren first, and he emits a spooky sound of his heart pumping out of his chest. And it's time to build Horror Orange Oren. He has his chest ripped open, so I built his body differently, but mostly built his head and his headphones and antennae the same as the normal Oren. Then I added his ribcage that's out in the open, and then added his horror eyes and finished with some bones added to the ribcage. And wow, he looks really spooky. His design is a little demented. Compared to normal Oren, he looks much scarier. What happened to you, Oren? Next, I'm adding Horror Gray, who looks like he's the one scared of something. And wow, he creates a low buzzing sound that sounds like it's from a horror game. And building Lego Horror Gray is pretty simple. He looks mostly the same as normal Gray, except the only difference is his eyes are wide open, so I added these horror Lego eyes. And he looks pretty creepy with the red eyes. And next to Gray, he looks like he spent all night binging horror movies. Horror Gray. Next, I'm adding the horror yellow version of Simon to the horror song. And holy, Mans is crashing out. I had no idea he was gonna spaz out like that. He has the cool melody though. Horror Simon Sprunki has a huge mouth, so I made sure to build a huge face for him. Mans is big and greedy. Then I started building his face with his two eyes at the top, two cone-shaped horns at the side, and antennae at the top. Then I added his creepy smiley eyes, and then added a sticker for his creepy wide open smile. And wow, Horror Simon might be the creepiest Sprunki so far. His giant headed smile kind of creeped me out. He looks very different next to normal Simon. What happened to chill Simon? I want to know the lore behind this. Next, I'm gonna add Horror Wenda to the song. And what the? Her voice sounds hella strange. Kind of a distorted, edited song. I'm not gonna lie, the normal Sprunki song sounds much better. But the horror song is kind of interesting and creepy though. Horror Wenda looks gray instead of white, so I started adding gray Legos. And she's also bloody around the body, so I added the blood. I also added it to her face and built the back of her head, which still has her 4 fur extensions to the side and her 2 gigantic cat ears. And when complete, Horror Wenda looks super accurate and so creepy. Next to normal Wenda, she looks like she's gonna eat normal Wenda. Scary! And now I want to add Horror Black back into the song. So let's put him in. He gives off a spooky atmosphere that really makes the song even creepier. And let's build Horror Black, who looks very different from normal Black. He has the normal Sprunki body, but his face is completely gone. So I built the gray mask looking face that's shrouded in darkness and added his soulless eyes and finished the details of the build. Horror Black looks pretty mysterious since all the details were stripped of him. I really wonder how normal Black transformed into him, especially when normal Black looks so fancy next to him. And next, I want to add a horror voice, so I'm adding Horror Pinki to the song. She still has that cool voice, but now it sounds more horror-like. Wow, this is so creepy. She also looks like she's crashing out. Holy, why does she kind of look like Horror Peppa Pig? Let's build Horror Pinki, who has a pretty similar body to normal Pinki, as well as the same ribbon and ears, but her main difference is her bloody face she has. I added a bunch of red Legos to her face to represent the bloody mess, and also added her horror red eyes. And she looks pretty spooky with that bloody face of hers and the blank face face expression. And when comparing her to normal Pinki, she looks so different because normal Pinki looks so innocent and happy. What on earth happened to you, Pinki? I want to add a cool drum beat next, so I added horror Raddy to this song. And whoa, he looks so different, scary. What the? He makes a loud banging drum noise that kind of sounds like he's smacking something. This song is very chaotic, so creepy. I miss my normal Sprunki song. Okay, let's build horror Raddy, who definitely looks the most messed up. I built a shorter face for him since part of his body is missing. I also added the white Legos on his face since half of his face is a skull, and added the only 2 horns he has left as well as the rope that he's hanging from. I also added 1 eye since he's also missing an eye. And wow, horror Raddy is so creepy since half of him is literally missing, and the fact that he's hanging from a rope as well. Whatever horror monster got to the Sprunkies definitely got to Raddy the most, because compared to normal Raddy, he looks so different. He's gonna haunt me in my dreams tonight. Next, let's add horror blue Jevin to the song. Whoa, he's singing a spooky choir opera. It really makes the song even creepier somehow. This song is really gonna be in my nightmares. For how scary his voice is, horror Jevin actually looks pretty similar to normal Jevin. He has the same foundation body and face as normal blue Jevin, and the only difference is that he has a darker shadow on his face. So I used some darker blue Legos to represent that. And when finished, he looks even more emo than normal Jevin. He kind of looks like Raven from Teen Titans as well. Next to normal Jevin, they look pretty similar. Probably the least drastic change out of the Sprunkies. For our last Sprunki, let's add horror Brud into the song. Okay, you can't really hear him too clearly, but he makes a crunchy sound effect that's pretty interesting. And wow, our horror song is finished. It's actually pretty cool and creepy. This could be a theme song to a show about how the Sprunki became their horror versions. Let's build horror Brud, who looks like someone took a bite out of him. So I built a hole at the side of his body. Whoever got to Brud also chomped off half of his face. So I only built the left side, which has 1 googly eye left. He kind of looks sad. I kind of feel bad for Brud because man's just got half of himself eaten, especially when standing next to normal Brud. Like, where did his bucket go? The true mystery of Sprunki. We finished the horror Sprunki song, but I still want to finish the rest of the horror Sprunki. So let's build horror Vineria next. She still has her green body, but everything else has changed. She has blood coming out of her eyes, so I added it to her face, and her vines have turned brown and rotted. Her eyes are also flying out, and she kind of looks like a snail now, except with red horror eyes. And her finished build is super creepy. She looks so demented. When standing next to normal Vineria, I almost can't tell that they're even the same character. Next is horror Mr. Sun, which has a similar sun design as the normal Mr. Sun with the same sun body and orange sun rays. The only difference is instead of a normal smiley face, horror Mr. Sun has a gigantic eye at the center of his face. He looks pretty creepy now and not as cheerful and sunny. Pun intended, as before. And now we've completed all normal and horror Sprunkies. Aw, they look like a happy family standing next to each other, except the fact that half of them are demented and look terrifying. I built so many of them, and I still didn't build every single Sprunki. Comment down below which Sprunki was your favorite, and also comment which Sprunki song you liked more, normal or horror. Thanks for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe to support my channel. Bye!